And welcome back to Luminary Leaders Live. My name is Shelley Harrison, and we are here today on Wednesday. And I have a guest that's going to be coming on here shortly, and I can't wait for you to meet her. She's coming to us all the way from Wisconsin, and you're going to hear her accent. I want to thank all of our subscribers and our followers for continuing to watch our episodes. And I don't know why, but I'm getting an echo. So we'll see if I can move this away. I want to go ahead and welcome my guest today, Tara Parks. Hi, Tara. How are you?
Hi, Shelley. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
Oh, well, I'm really glad that you're here. I know that we've been in Katarina Rondo's community for quite some time, and I know that you just started your business about a year ago, and I was just really fascinated with how genuine you are, and I instantly connected with you, Tara. And I I really want to get into what you talk about because I think number one, being a speaker and the topic of being, retention. Retention is something that when I had my career in the banking industry, back in my corporate career, retention was a big buzz, trying to keep and retain the right employees and keeping employees happy. I do know that the dynamic was different back then and it's so different now. So I applaud
Very-
you for doing this work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would love for you to kind of share a little bit about yourself, Tara. Again, I know you're coming to us from Wisconsin, but we'd love to hear a little bit about your story, how you started your business, and a little bit about you.
Sure. So my background, I've been born and raised in Wisconsin. I've traveled a little bit, but this has always been home for me. So I've been raised with a lot of the Midwestern work ethic and some of those Midwestern values where you just kind of have that really work hard, not so much play hard kind of attitude towards work. So
Yeah.
I've always had a job. I've always mostly have worked retail, customer service type positions, sales, customer service. And it's funny that with my education, because I do have my MBA and I've also got a master's in internet marketing,
Wow.
um, the reason
Congratulations.
that I chose this topic is because of all the bad leaders that I've had and all the jobs that didn't give me a reason to stick around.
Oh, I think a lot of people can relate to that because
Yeah.
we at one time or another in our careers had kind of that. I think of that movie with Cameron Diaz, which is Bad Bosses, which is a pretty funny movie.
Yeah.
At least I think it's Cameron Diaz. Isn't it Cameron Diaz? I can't remember. I think it is. It's been a while since I've seen it, but no, that's fascinating though. So based on your experiences, you really put together a business that can help and support companies and I would imagine their leadership teams so that they can create uh, better environments. And I know we talked a little bit about marketing too. Can we talk about maybe, how you work with your clients and how you help them implement some of the theories and or not theories but some of the programs that you've developed to help people with their retention, be it customer retention, employee retention, volunteer retention, and nonprofit. There's all kinds of retention that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. So the framework for retaining individuals, whether it's volunteer, whether it's in the workforce, or whether you're looking at customer retention, is really framed around creating different experiences for them so that you are able to engage them and able to retain them longer. Engagement is really part of the framework of the CARE framework that I use. So C is for communication, being able to communicate with them. And in this world of all the digital tools that we have, communication happens online, communication happens in brochures, it happens verbally, it happens in print, it happens any way that possibly that the user or the end employee may want to get information. Social
Mhm.
media, so that communication needs to happen everywhere.
Yeah.
And what are you communicating? You want to communicate about your culture. You want to communicate what does your company stand for? What exactly are the expectations for that position? If you don't communicate that information, then you know what? Nobody's going to want to do the job. If you are told to sign up for something, but you don't really know what you're signing up for, odds are you're not going to do a very good job and you're not going to be very interested in doing that.
Right. Right.
I say that in life because I do work with a lot of small business owners, and people that are my age generation. I'm 50.
Oh, you're young.
Right, tend to think that there are certain aspects of work that should be common knowledge. And I'm going to use answering the telephone as one of them. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, millennials who are in college now don't even know what the old phone looks like. There was never a time when there weren't cell phones. So, going to a restaurant where there's a phone on the wall or on the table that they have to pick up the lever and actually answer, they've never
Yeah,
seen one of those before. So,
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, thinking that someone is going to automatically know that, oh, hey, the phone is ringing, I need to answer it and offer service is not necessarily as common as people think it is.
Yeah.
So it's really important to be very, very clear and concise in that communication and
Mm,
expectations of what you want that person to do. If it's a
mhm.
volunteer, it's the same exact experience. What exactly are your expectations for that volunteer position? Uh,
Mm.
Communicating to your customers, you're communicating about your products, your services. You're communicating about your company values, because people want to
Yes.
buy from socially responsible companies these days. So
Mhm.
it's very important to have that information available wherever anybody could possibly see information about your company.
Oh, exactly. And I'm just thinking back and just all of the things that were so critical, as I was a manager in the banking industry. And, there were a lot of high expectations dealing with people's money
Oh,
and
sure.
the culture. I can think of some really good examples and I can think of some really bad examples. In your experience, what are some of maybe one of the examples that, that you've seen and you've gone in and you've actually corrected it for them or you've provided a solution?
So I think the biggest correction that I was able to help a company make was in authenticity.
Mm,
So part of the CARE framework, the second letter in that acronym is being authentic.
yeah.
And there's so many times in a sales job where it's all about, I'm going to say gaslighting, but it's building people up, right? Pumping them up, got to get excited, got to get that sale. And, when you don't take a moment to see the person for a person instead of
Mhm.
just another salesperson, you can miss very big mental health issues that someone might be having. They're not having a great day. Not every day is going to be on that, super high
High
note.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So having a manager who has the ability to recognize and communicate and be able to be authentic about, hey, I remember a time when I was really struggling with my sales too. And, this is kind of how I worked through that problem. What can I do to help support you in working through this today? And, being authentic with your people instead of always having that really used car salesman slick
Yeah.
answer.
Oh
um,
gosh.
and no offense to used car salesmen out there, I love you, but a lot of times in that industry they get a bad name because there's
They
you know
do. Yeah.
used tactics that
Unfortunately.
seem very like a line, and I'm just not a line kind of person. I never have been, which is maybe why I only lasted in the car sales industry for like 9 months. So
Oh, well, I was in the mortgage business, and I think, I remember someone telling me, and this is terrible, and I'm not going to say the company name either. And I had one of my coworkers that, I went over to her and I said, I have some questions. I was brand new in the industry. I was certified. And she goes, Shelley, just fake it until you make it. And I thought, I come from a very ethical background. I've always been in a culture that's been very client oriented. And to hear that, it was like, oh my gosh, did she really just say that? And it was, and I, of course, I did not fake it until I make it. I actually decided to leave that industry and pursue something else. But I could just imagine though, you've got you said the care program, right?
Yep,
CARE. So I know we made
correct.
it to A for authenticity, and R is.
Is relationships. So you
Mm,
want to build relationships with your team. And
yeah.
I do want to take a step back just real quick on the fake it till you make it philosophy.
Oh, yeah,
There is
please.
there is a time and a place for the fake it till you make it philosophy. When you think of a mindset, if someone is is struggling with mental health issues, okay, myself included, I have struggled most of my adult life with mental health, depression, and
Oh,
anxiety.
yeah.
Um, and so, there's times where fake it till you make it is not something that you can do. However,
No.
mindset and talking, positive to yourself, even though you don't feel positive inside, even though you
Mhm.
feel like you're having the worst day ever, but speaking positive things to yourself is part of that fake it till you make it. So if
Mm.
you say something to yourself enough, eventually you're going to manifest that for yourself. So
Right.
there part of the fake it till you make it that does apply to, positive mental health and a positive environment, but a
Mhm.
lot of times it's used in the inappropriate way where people are like, oh, well, just fake, your reactions and fake who you are until you get to this. And it's like that's just not the way it works.
No, no, and I probably should have asked, well, what do you mean by fake it till you make it? Because I was so overwhelmed with all of the compliance, and, the rates were, you had to go to so many different platforms to look for interest rates, and, you can't fake an interest rate. You have to be very, very clear on those kind of details.
Right.
But I probably should have asked, what do you mean by, fake it till you make it? And I probably would have gotten a very different answer than what I was thinking, right? It's possible.
Possibly. I mean, a
Possibly.
lot of times, like I said, they are used in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Another way that people use that is in the example of stories, because a lot of sales is about telling stories.
Mhm.
And if you
It
don't
is.
have your own story, you may have to borrow a story until you have your own stories to tell.
Yeah.
So the customer doesn't know that you're sharing a story that isn't yours. That's another example of borrowing someone's story, faking it until you actually have your own story to tell. So
Yeah,
um,
that's a good point. That's a
there's a
good
couple different ways to look at that, but I agree that um, it can be very confusing sometimes when people say, fake it till you make it. If you are not in the right mindset, it can be taken the wrong way for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And now I know that, you are a speaker and you provide presentations, and I'm sure you do workshops. Tell us a little bit about the right audience for you. For our listeners, so they know. So if they would love to, bring you out and have you speak for their organization or their company, what kind of, you know, audiences are your ideal fit?
Yeah. So if teams that are looking for ways to reconnect the management with the team, if you're feeling as though there's a huge gap in relationship building, for example,
Mhm.
the last part of my care framework is empathy and being able to put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're trying to lead, and really coming from a place of caring instead of just looking at the numbers and production wise. And that really is the piece of that. So if you feel like your team is disconnected from management, if you feel like there's a huge gap in that how that communication is going, that
Mhm.
would be a perfect opportunity for me to come out and help facilitate some training on those care philosophies. Another one would be if you are, a nonprofit organization and you're looking for help on how to create better volunteer experiences
Oh,
that
yeah.
help facilitate that, volunteer retention, is
Mhm.
again another great opportunity for me to help, build that up and help those leaders to, create an environment in which people want to stay. Um, In some aspects, it really is about recreating a culture within the company of belonging, of inclusivity, of caring. This culture of caring. This is why I picked that framework, and it's not by accident. I can tell you
No,
that. Um,
you thought
but
it through very clearly.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just creating that culture of care, because there's so many
Yeah.
places that it's all about the numbers. And honestly, in
Boy, is
today's
it ever.
workforce, they
Yeah.
want to know that they matter. They want to know that what they do matters. They want to know that their work matters and that
Mm,
they matter to the company. Because if they
that's so
don't
true.
matter, then they're gone. And so
Exactly.
care
Yeah.
is about helping people feel like they matter, whether it's employees, whether it's, leaders, whether it's, volunteers, customers. It's all about that experience that you give them that helps them feel like they matter.
Oh, that, I mean, I can just feel, the warmth that you have and that authenticity, because when it comes to working with companies, I'm sure that they get so much value working with you, Tara.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, yeah. So, if you had any parting ideas or thoughts that you want to leave with, with our audience, because we're coming to the end of the broadcast here, I would love for you to share,
Sure.
what your
Um,
thoughts are.
you know, I I love to discuss the issues that people are having through a discovery call before I, plan on any kind of get together, for example. So if anybody has any questions and they'd like to get some more information on whether or not a workshop or a presentation would be a good fit, I would love to just have that conversation with a business leader, HR manager, operations manager, just to see if that's a good fit. There's no cost for an initial phone call, and maybe it's not a good fit, but I might have a good referral for your organization that would be a better fit. So I
Oh,
do have a very large network that I work with, and would love to be able to assist in any way that I can. So
oh, that's fantastic. And we do have your website scrolling at the bottom. So I would encourage our audience, if you'd like to reach out to Tara, her website is there. And I might add that you have a very beautiful website. I was really very
thank
pleasantly surprised. Nice job on your website. Yeah.
you.
Well, Tara, it has been absolutely wonderful having you on the show today. And I want to thank you for sharing all of your wisdom. This is a particularly fun topic that I like to talk on because it was a number one hot button when I worked in the bank. And, for all of us, I mean, you and I both own our own companies. And I think, retention of our clients is another thing, where we definitely want to, be sure that we're keeping our clients and taking good care of them. Uh,
Absolutely. Thank you so much
yeah.
for having me on today and inviting me here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Tara. And we want to thank our audience for joining us. I know I always tell you that even if you're catching the last end of this episode, please go all the way back to the beginning because Tara gave some great information. And check out her website. I would highly recommend that discovery call if you're looking to improve the retention within your organization. And think about it, if you've had one or two people recently leave your company, got to talk to Tara. So, all right. Well, thank you again, Tara. And we want to thank our audience, and we will catch everyone next time.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.